Okay, team, here is the VLOOKUP video I promised you. Going to be a little bit difficult to do this with one hand while I'm holding the other, using the other hand to hold this camera, so I'm going to do my best. So you're going to use the VLOOKUP when you have all of the labels in front of the codes that Sana asked us to add, and you need to transfer it to the participant master list. The one that looks like this, that has the lines from 1 all the way through the end. So I'm doing this in Excel, but you can also do this in on the Google Drive. It should work exactly the same. And just sort of for ease of use, I copied the tab where I'm supposed to be inputting my information into Excel. So what you're going to want to do is in the first row in column C under the quotation, that's where we're going to add our VLOOKUP formula. So you do equal, open parentheses. Oh, sorry. Actually, you do equal VLOOKUP. Then you open the parentheses, and then you need to have Excel, you need to tell Excel what you're going to be looking for. So in this case, we're going to be looking for the line number. So you would click the line number cell here, and you put a comma, and then you have to tell Excel which range of data you're going to be looking for the line number in. So that's where I would go back to this quotation manager tab, and I'm going to highlight the rows of data that contain the information that I inputted. So we're just going to do participant 1 for now. So you can select that whole range. Oops, I went a little too far. Select that whole range of cells for participant 1. Next, you're going to put another comma, and then you're going to tell Excel which column you want returned. So for example, we're trying to populate the quotation comma that corresponds to this line number. So in my range of cells, since I highlighted from column B to F, that's going to be column 2, because the line number would be column 1 and then the quotation is column 2. So you'd put 2, another comma, and then the last thing, and Excel prompts you for this, is either true or false. If you put true, it'll look for an approximate match. If you put false, it'll look for an exact match. So we're going to put false because we want to match the exact line number between the two data sheets. So we'll put false. Oops, make sure that's all typed out. And then you close your parentheses. And so right now you're going to see this, it looks like an error message, this pound sign NA. And that's because if you go over to the quotation manager, you'll see that my the first line that I have a quote for and a code for is line 3. So we're going to make a couple of other modifications to this formula before we start dragging it down. So what we're going to want to do is lock our whole data range. So the way you would do that is by putting $signs in between before and after the letters in your cell range. So this is going to say, when I drag and drop my formula, instead of updating the data range to move down as I move my formula down, we're going to want to keep it set on that range of data so that it's always referencing the same set of rows and columns. And the other thing we want to do, because we're going to drag, not only are we going to drag the formula down, we're also going to drag it across so we can populate the column and the codes and the modified by columns. We're going to lock just the beginning, just put a $sign before the letter B under B2. So that'll lock it so that you can drag it down, but it'll let us move it, it should let us move it across. And so now you can see, as I start to move this formula down, it's populating. If we go to 3, for example, our formula is basically telling Excel in the prior tab to look for line number 3 and populate it with what's listed in column 2. So if you want to just go over here and check, you can see that when I have line number 3 in column B, it's returning what we have over here in column C. And so now we're going to want to copy that all the way down. And a quick tip to do that is if you have a cell highlighted and you see there's this, you could just double click on the bottom right hand part of the cell and you see that it copies it all the way down to the end of your cell range, so all the way down to row 323. And now we're gonna wanna drag this formula across for these columns so that we also populate the comment, the codes, and the modified by columns. So the only changes we're gonna have to make here is if you click on it, because we locked cell B2, it's still referencing column B. But what we're gonna, and again, we locked the data range, the reference on the prior tab, so we can leave that as is. We're gonna have to change the cells, the columns that we're looking for Excel to return for us. So for the comment, I'm gonna change that to column 3, because if we go back to the quotation manager tab, you can see that in our range of cells that we've highlighted, which remember is columns B through F, we want to return column 1, column 2, column 3 in the comment section, all right? So the comment is gonna get a 3. The codes we're gonna change to reference column 4, to return column 4, and then the modified by we're gonna change to reference column 5. And then similar to what we did before, you can just double click the bottom right corner of the cell and it's gonna copy and paste your formulas all the way down. Now you'll see that we have a bunch of these NAs, and that is going to pertain to the rows where I don't have any codes. So for example, I don't have a code from row 25 to 32, but we're gonna wanna get rid of those. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight all of the formulas, all of the cells with the formulas that we just copied. We're gonna copy it, so Control C, and then we're gonna paste special values. So that's gonna get rid of the formulas and only going to return the text that we currently see in these cells. So if you wanna use the keyboard shortcut, it's Control V, oops. Let me just do this way. Control copy, and then you can also do this, right? Paste. Paste values. The keyboard shortcut is Alt-ESV. I'm not sure why it didn't work. Again, it's hard doing this one-handed. So now if you click on all these cells, you can see that the formulas are gone and all that we've returned is the actual text. But now to get rid of the NAs, what I'm gonna do is select this range of cells again, and I'm gonna do a find and replace. So I'm gonna hit Control F. I'm gonna go to the Replace tab, and I wanna replace my $N/A with blanks, right? Because I wanna get rid of everything that has an NA, and I just wanted to return a blank cell. So in the Replace With, just put a space, and then hit Replace All. And it'll tell you it's complete. It made as many replacements as it needs, and now you can look and you see we have a final file that's populated with the quotes and the comments and the codes only for the rows that I have quotes, comments, and codes for. And then I'm just gonna copy this back onto the drive into the master file that Sana posted. If you have any questions, you can feel free to send me a Slack or send me an email, or we can chat when I'm in lab next. All right, good luck.